Hey, what's up guys? Today I want to share with you a little fire build that I came up with for Crusader. And I know before that I said the holy shotgun build takes the cake, but now with 2.1 coming up, I feel like this build may be the best for greater rifts. So without further ado, I'll go right into the skills. Uh, let's see, here we go. So Fist of the Heavens is your main attack. And the basis of this build is you want to do as much tick damage as you can, so you proc Firestarter, the Akrat's champion. And for that I also use Heaven's Fury, Blessed Ground. Basically it ticks the Heaven's Fury ray, and then it ticks the Blessed Ground, which enemies walk over. So it's a double tick, and it does massive damage. Um, in essence, with Akrat's champion Firestarter. And another tick damage attack that I picked was Consecration, Shattered Ground. Basically, you're grabbing this just for the ticks and maybe the heals once in a while when you need it. Um, and these are the two other skills that I use for extra 50%. Lightning damage is provoked, charged up with the Wrath regeneration, or the Wrath, uh, 5 Wrath for every enemy that's taunted, and then Laws of Valor for Wrath Reservation. My passive skills are Holy Cause, Heavenly Strength, Wrathful, and Finery. And I'm using Heavenly Strength because this is actually a two-hand fire build. So the weapon I'm using is the Furnace, and on top of all the ticks and the Firestarter procs, you'll be proccing the Furnace, which deals a chunk of an enemy's damage, around 6 to 8% depending on the weapon that you get, and it'll deal that much damage of the enemy's current health as fire damage. So this weapon is a staple to the build, and I feel like it'll be really useful in later greater rifts when enemies have tons and tons of HP. And as far as bosses go, like Rift Guardians, this build totally destroys any high HP boss and any Rift Guardian. So yeah, that's why I made this build, and I think it'll be really useful for greater rifts. The rest of the gear is pretty basic. The same 5-piece Akan set bonus with the Ring of Royal Grandeur, um, fire damage Ami, Reaper's Wraps, and the Crimson Silk set for the CDR, Hellskull for 10% extra damage, and the usual SOJ. Uh, so basically, this build works much opposite of the shotgun build. The shotgun build is pretty much a bursty build, and it's very tanky, in your face kind of rock'em sock'em style, where you have to just run up to a mob and blast it as hard as you can. This build is actually, if you're soloing with this build, you're gonna want to tank. I mean, you're gonna want to kite a lot more because you're not as tanky. So you're gonna be running around a lot more and waiting for your damage to actually ramp up, which means when you put an attack out there, you have to wait a bit for the Firestarter to proc and the Furnace to proc, but give it 2 or 3 seconds, you'll start doing massive damage, and I'll show you in a bit how that works. And before I do, let me just show you the Paragon point distribution. It's movement speed I cap enough just to get the 25%, and then I go enough vitality just to have at least 500k health. I think for T6, that's just my playstyle, and that's my benchmark for how much health I want. Might end up being more in greater rifts when the mobs get stronger, and the rest I put into strength. Offense, I don't do anything to attack speed because it's not so important for this build. I do cooldown reduction and then critical hit chance and critical hit damage, because these two are actually calculated now on every tick. So your ticks don't crit anymore. They're all calculated based on your critical hit chance and hit damage, and it'll do a flat amount of tick damage. As for defense, I go armor, resist all, and then life. Utility is resource cost reduction, life on hit for survivability, and then area damage. Alright, so let's get into demonstration. I think I'll go to the depths level 3, and I'll kill Gom just to show you how fast big bosses die to this build. And in the meantime, on the way there, you'll see how it does in just regular runs with elite packs and whatnot. So yeah, it's not as tanky as a shotgun build, and it's not bursty. As you can see, you have to wait a bit for things to die. Wrong way. And another thing about this build is I'd recommend that you play this when you're in a group. I wouldn't recommend playing this solo because it's not as effective with the ramp up time that you need. I mean, you can play solo if you're good enough, but it's just a lot easier to play with a group of friends and anyone that can CC the mobs and or tank them while you just sit in the back and just spam Fist of the Heavens and melt everything. So you don't have to spend your time kiting. You have full uptime on all your attacks and all your ramp up time for the massive damage that you're gonna do. So as you can see, the tick went up to at least 44 million. The highest I've seen was 100 mil, and that hurts a lot. Let's see, just looking for Gong. Oh, another elite. Okay. I have to tank a bit with these. Okay. So, just looking for Gong right now. Oh, another elite. Oh, and I heard in the next patch that they're gonna get rid of the screen shake for the Fist of the Heavens, which would be amazing, because it's really annoying when you can't even see your screen, let alone, you know, like poison on the ground or anything, because the screen is shaking so often. And they might want to make Fist of the Heavens the fire on the ground a bit more translucent, because sometimes you can't see anything. Like if I have enough Fist of the Heavens on the floor, you can't see a poison pool that spawns under you, and oftentimes that'll be the death. Okay, so looks like we're gonna run into Gom here. And let's see how fast I can kill this guy. die. Okay, so he's dead. And got some boots from that. So I'm not sure how fast that was. Maybe like 10 to 15 seconds. I'm not sure, but it's fairly quick. Um, and this just melts bosses, and it works pretty much the same way on Rift Guardians. If you have someone that can tank for you, or if you have the gear that makes you strong enough to tank, just a just face tank a Rift Guardian, you can burn it down pretty fast with this build. And I can't wait to see how it does in greater rifts. Um, Hopefully it does well. And everyone's been saying that the furnace is going to be OP, so hopefully they don't nerf this. I haven't seen this become too OP in my play, but yeah, we'll have to see how it works in later greater rifts. But yeah, that's pretty much the build. And if you guys have any questions or comments, just leave them and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.